Want to take your business-to-business company digital? Learn from the leaders at Sana Commerce. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Talk Commerce, the top podcast for e-commerce innovators. I'm your co-host, Veronica Costello. With me, as usual, is my lame joke-telling co-host Brent Peterson. Today we have a special guest, Arno Ham, CTO of Sana Commerce, a leader in B2B e-commerce technology. Sana enables over 1,500 companies globally to deliver seamless digital experiences by integrating directly with core systems. On today's show, Arno will share his 20-plus years of experience driving innovation in B2B commerce. He'll offer advice on digitally transforming traditional businesses and discuss Sana's value proposition of real-time integrations. We'll hear Arno's expertise on the importance of customer-specific pricing in traditional business-to-business sales. Get ready to take your business digital as we unpack success secrets from Sana Commerce's CTO. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Are you lost in the content creation chaos, struggling under the burden of high costs and complications? Does the thought of regular content posting make you break out in hives? We feel your pain, but don't despair. Your content hero has arrived. Introducing Content Basis, delivering unparalleled content creation and scheduling solutions crafted specifically for your audience and needs. Harnessing the power of AI, we efficiently deliver on-point content every time. Our US-based team meticulously reviews each piece, ensuring authenticity and precision. We value your unique voice and insights. You direct the final shape while we handle ideation to execution. With auto-scheduling, your content always finds its audience. And with bi-weekly check-ins, our strategies sync with your vision. At Content Basis, we're your dedicated ally in the content battlefield. From ideation to posting, we've got your content journey covered. Visit contentbasis.io and say goodbye to content chaos today. That's contentbasis.io.
My name is Brent Peterson, and I'm your host. Please remember to subscribe wherever you download your podcasts. And now, Talk Commerce. Welcome to this episode of Talk Commerce. Today I have Arno Ham. Arno is the CTO of Sana Commerce. Arno, go ahead, do an introduction for yourself. Tell us about your day-to-day role and maybe one of your passions in life.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me, Brent. So my name is Arno. I work over 20 years in technology. I have my background in computer science. I studied computer science, and I love technology from the very, very early beginning. Here at Sana, we are doing B2B e-commerce. So when I joined Sana, I also fell in love with the wondering world of B2B e-commerce. And my day-to-day job is I'm leading everything tech related. I'm part of the board of directors of executive board at Sana. So everything from product management to product development to the professional services we're supplying and customer service we are giving to our customers, I'm responsible for. So that keeps me busy. And if I'm not busy with Sana, I like to run, I like to cook, and I like to spend time with my family. I have 3 daughters. They keep me busy as well. So, and a lovely wife. So, love to enjoy the outdoors, visiting museums, eat nice food, and just, do family stuff.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So I know that you graciously volunteered to hear a joke, and all you have to do is, it's called the Free Joke Project. All you have to do is say, should this joke remain free, or do you think somebody could charge for it one day?
All right.
So here we go. I hired a handyman and gave him a to-do list. When I got home, only items 1, 3, and 5 were done. It turns out he only does odd jobs.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
So let's pay for it.
Wow, all right.
Yeah.
Pay for it. There we go. Good.
Nothing comes for free in this world. Come on.
Yeah, good. All right, well, thanks for that.
In the ever-evolving retail landscape, one platform is changing the game, ushering in a retail renaissance that puts relationships at the forefront. Welcome to Endear. Endear is a CRM built for omni-channel brands, empowering them with the consumer data to deliver a personalized, efficient customer experience that drives sales and retention. Imagine a tool that intuitively understands your customers' needs, giving your brand a remarkable edge. Don't believe us? Geronimo from Rebag says, "I've used every CRM from Salesforce down, and Endear is the best one I've found for us." With Endear, your team isn't just selling products and crafting stories that resonate, nurturing connections that last. It's not just a CRM. It's a tool that empowers your sales associates to make personalized connections, bridging brands and customers like never before. Ready to redefine retail clienteling with a platform trusted by hundreds of omni-channel brands around the globe? Request your Endear demo today and enter a future of enriched connections and unparalleled customer loyalty.
So I've had Mikhail on before, the CEO of Sana, and I enjoyed that conversation. And I know that B2B commerce is so important or is growing now. So tell us kind of what is the backbones and what are you promoting nowadays, or not promoting, but tell us about Sana a little bit again, and tell us a little bit about the platform.
Yeah, no, definitely. So Sana is all about B2B e-commerce. So when we started the company back in the day, so that was around 2008. So we've been here for a while. We actually originate from a digital agency or e-commerce agency here in Western Europe, in the Netherlands, where our headquarters is. So I think you have backgrounds as running a digital agency or e-commerce provider as our agency as well. So you kind of know the trick. So and we did a lot of B2C for all the major retailers here in our side of the world. And but we saw more and more customers coming with a question to our desk and saying, "Hey, we have also another group of customers that we want to serve, and we never heard about B2B e-commerce or about B2B. That terminology didn't really exist." But they said, "No, we have, besides of our consumers, we also have another group of customers we want to serve, and we have prices negotiated with them. They have special agreements. They have this, they have that. One can order this, one can order that." But yeah, we want to make a web store. You guys are good at it. So build it. So we were, getting into that business, and we understood, okay, that is what we nowadays call B2B. We are, companies trade to other companies, and things are, they want the same experience as with e-commerce, with B2C, but there's so much more at stake. There are so many more challenges that you need to solve. And later on, we figured out that a lot of that information, a lot of that data, a lot of that logic was in these companies' ERP or backend systems like Microsoft Dynamics or SAP. These things. A lot of companies run their business on these systems. While every project, building integrations, getting the data out or synchronizing the data, with all the troubles that it was creating, we thought, hey, we need to do that differently. And that's why on a certain moment in time, we thought, hey, what if we could turn these backend systems into e-commerce engines and bring all that complexity and all that data and all that logic all to the users, to the B2B buyers, and solve all those problems with errors that can occur with manual data transfers and so on and so on. And that is actually how Sana was born, right? So be doing stuff completely different than what we call mainstream e-commerce, like Adobe Magento or Shopify. That's not only about the feature set that we're focusing on, supporting really the B2B niche, you can say so. But we also do that from an architectural perspective, that we are trying to do most of the things from these single sources of truth, the ERP systems or the product information management systems, where the data is already there. So we have a lot of real-time integrations. We call them pre-built integrations. So that's not just supplying a bunch of APIs, but it is also about certification. It's about functionality to everybody has their ERP in a different way. All those things we are solving. And that's how now 1,500 customers all over the globe are enjoying that ride. And And yeah, we are a rapid growing company, and yeah, that's what we are now, right? We have offices all around the world, and if companies have troubles in bringing their B2B e-commerce online, in the digital transition, so from not having a store to go digital, or if you have already a platform but you have troubles with adoption, or you have troubles with growing your revenue, or you have a lot of manual work in solving errors on the transactions that are being received from the platform, then maybe it's a good option to look around, and because these things we are really good at and we are solving for our customers.
That's awesome. And I know one of the strong points you have is that direct integration. And I think you had originally talked about, or you had a direct integration with SAP. That talk about how important that is to have that single point of truth and have that direct integration with your ERP system.
Yeah, so why is it so important is what we have seen with B2B is that things can get complex really rapidly, right? If you're running a consumer business, and you're selling shoes or toys or whatsoever, you have products, and products have a price, and that is the complexity that you get. So a price is actually attached to a product as an attribute. With B2B, to give an example, you can have a different price than me, and even there can be prices, different tiers if you have order more and so on. So there's already adding complexity. So actually price is not an attribute to the product, but to the customer, which can explode it in terms of data and logic that you need to transfer. If you do that with synchronization, there will be always errors or things that you need to map, or that there are systems that cannot handle the amount of load, etc., etc. And that's why it's better to do that in real time, where it already is in the systems where it's already designed for that, or that has that functionality. And while doing that, you also do not have to, manage these systems on two places. So you do not create pricing in one system and do it over in another system and make mistakes there. And you do not have, let's say, when you're getting the orders, while doing that, you do not have these mistakes. So yeah, if nothing is so bad in harming a relationship with a B2B buyer. If you negotiated a price, you entered into a store and you see, okay, you talk to the sales guy there and say, hey, okay, this is my price. I negotiated there. It's in the system. You go back home, you go online and you see a different price, right? That's not what you want. It should be that seamless, same experience. So these are just a couple of answers. I can talk all day about that, but these are the things why integration matters. And we do that in real time. And that is a lot of our intellectual property is in these systems to make sure that it is quick, that it is scalable, that it is robust, and also that it can function when, for example, the ERP is not available for maintenance or something like that, right? So we have covered in these past 10, even more since 2008, we have covered all those scenarios, and we are really specialized in that. We have teams dedicated on SAP, dedicated on Microsoft Dynamics, developers, consultants. So in comparison with other vendors, we have a huge amount of knowledge inside our organization just to handle that.
I want to key in on what you said earlier about price is an attribute of the customer and not of the product. I think it's a really good way to look at it, especially for B2B. Help our listeners understand what that means and why it's important, especially in the marketplace for B2B.
Yeah, so pricing in B2B, everybody has most of the time negotiated pricing, or because you're ordering at bulk, or you are ordering maybe 1,000 bicycles a year, but I'm a larger organization. I'm buying 10,000 a year, right? So I get most of the time if I done my negotiation right, I get a better price per item than you. That's just how these things work, and. Yeah, to handle that in that terms of complexity is that, if you have just a product and a price, it's a one-on-one relationship. But if you have 5,000 customers with 5,000 products, I think you end up with 2.5 million records or even more, right? So that's exploding in terms of data, and that explosion of data and also logic is also exploding the things that can go wrong, or the time it takes to synchronize these things, especially in the rapid changes that are now being needed in the world with, stock levels that are at risk, or with production lines, a scarcity of resources, you need to, change data more frequently than in the past, right? So imagine if, let's say 5 years ago, you only had to update pricing maybe every week or every year. Now we see companies change their prices multiple times per day. Imagine if you 2.5 million price records need to shift around in systems. That's kind of a challenge in IT still, even in 2023, that we see at companies struggling. Things get stuck, synchronizations fail, systems are not aligned, customers are calling unhappy, and you're ending up with a lot of manual work. All these things we are solving because these changes are there in the system, and we are directly in real time getting these pricing information, for example. But it's also about what products can you buy or not. It's also about what stock levels do we have, what is really at stock, and in B2B it can be more complex because you can have different stock levels agreed than me, because you have maybe a special part in the warehouse that is reserved for you because you're a large buyer. These kind of things, all those complexities, that is all in these systems, and that's what we expose and make it really, really simple for the B2B buyers to consume that information, to use that. It feels really frictionless, but it is quite some magic to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hard part for a lot of end users to understand is that relationship with the amount of data that has to be saved in an index. And I come from the Magento world, where that has always been a struggle. And as you add a store view, you're gonna multiply the number of price or indexes you have to an inventory piece. Talk about, I love that idea of a reserved product, because I think a lot of places don't talk about reserved products. Tell us a little bit about why a merchant or a manufacturer who has something like Sana would want to reserve specific products for one of their customers, so somebody else couldn't buy it.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So that's all about, let's say, the relationship. In B2B, relationships matters. It's not always the price, or it's not the price for many of these cases. It's about you are running a business, and you as a B2B, as a company, for example, if you are a construction company or you're building houses, you want to deliver, your house for your end user, your end buyer, let's say for a consumer or for somebody else. So there's always, you're also supplying to something. So if you're purchasing, if you need goods to build that house and it is not available, you need to, you're harming also the relationship that you have with your customer, because you cannot build that house on time, or you cannot finish that project. So that's why the relationship between the B2B buyer and the supplier is very, very important, that you can really rely and trust. And one of the things is that companies make agreements that say, okay, pricing is not a big issue, but if I'm calling and I need this piece, I want to have it. And that's why they make these agreements that you say, okay, that's fine. We know that you roughly, based on data, will purchase 1,000 of these pieces a year. We will put at least 500 on stock because we know you will anyway buy them, right? And then the sooner they place that order, or the moment they place that order, they are sure that they will have it, and they can also see that real time levels, let's say, so the inventory levels. So that is the relationship. That's the point. Because next time, if that relationship will be harmed over and over again, you will go to another vendor and say, no, this is not going to work, right? And once again, pricing is not the biggest thing here. It's about making sure that the agreements that you have, that they will be taken into account, and that you're just delivering the goods as agreed.
One thing that has come up now is, or recently, not recently, but there's some things that come up with younger people and the way they behave, and now more and more younger people are becoming are becoming business owners, and they want their experience in B2B to happen the same way as, say, D2C or B2C. Talk a little bit about how that relationship is changing between the older business owners that are just doing it in a traditional way that, say, they've done since the since the turn of the century,
Yeah.
turn of the last century, as compared to what younger people are expecting now in their experience.
Yeah. So 40%, can you imagine? 40% of all the B2B transactions happening in the world is still offline. So there is still a huge group that is doing business offline. And some product groups are still quite difficult to transform into a digital experience. However, it is rapidly changing because indeed one of the key arguments for that, or the key reasons, the key facts for that, is that the younger generation, actually the B2B buyers that are now purchasing, they demand that seamless experience, or they are actually want to buy the stuff that they are doing at home as well, right? They want that it's the same. They are not used to go to trade shows or to talk to people, right? The new generations are, living in more in a digital world. That's just how they are, being educated or grown up. So, and also the business owners see that because they're also changing and say, hey, we need to align the need of the B2B buyer with what we are supplying. We need to transform. We need to bring our traditional business, which is offline with email or just face-to-face by visiting as a sales rep, visiting your customers on a certain frequency. We need to change that and bring that to the digital world. And there the problem starts, because that is actually the challenge that we are seeing with so many customers, and where we at Sana have a lot of expertise in helping a lot of customers just by simply helping them in that transformation. Because one of the things that we can talk about, or what's interesting in my opinion, is that for the older generation, which is, going at some point in time to retirement, they have so much knowledge about all those complex B2B products, because, products in B2B are most of the time more complex and require more explanation to say, okay, for example, this spare part will fit on this machine, but not on this machine. Or you can also use this, right? So these practical or sometimes very difficult information is all living in the head of the salespeople or the experts on certain in the different areas. And you need to, transform that from these heads into a digital experience, right? So, and there are lots of ways to do that with nice product content or discovery and search mechanisms where you can configure and select and buy. But that needs to happen, right? And also the way how you do business or the business model sometimes change. So there is a lot of things at stake, and that makes it also, that's also one of the reasons why still 40% is not digitized yet, because it's just a hard job. It's not an easy thing. And that's why we also see companies struggle a lot. But with the help of integration, you can do a lot of shortcuts, making things easier, at least as a starting point. But besides of that, we also have a lot of expertise on this very topic, as well as giving the functionality, besides of integration, also the functionality to support all of this.
One thing you'd mentioned, you mentioned digitization of the
digitalization.
Thank you, of the whole industry. It feels like the ERPs have all worked on getting their own web front end, like making that experience available, but many of them haven't been successful, and they look for companies like Sana to partner with and do that. Talk a little bit about how ERPs seem to do what they do well, and sometimes they don't do that presentation layer to the customer well in a B2B format.
Yeah. No, I think everything it drills down into expertise, right? So we have already over 20 years of experience in e-commerce and B2B e-commerce. But we cannot build an ERP. I'm not going to build an ERP. So, and I think also the larger ERPs or the organizations behind it, are shifting, and we see them shifting, from being these big suites of solutions that they can do everything, but not everything very, very well. But in general, that they are shifting to more like a, best of breed or composable kind of, architecture or solutions. Where you can have with ecosystems where you can swap functionality or extend functionality to give that full package. So that is a whole journey that is, I think, the past 10 years that we have seen see see change in the IT industry in general. And that's also what we like at Sana. So we are really, we're focusing on B2B and on the integration there. We are delivering a super nice front end for that as well. But if you want to use another front end or want to, use part of our front end, we can handle that as well. Same story applies for if you want to use the ERP for your product information, you're good. If you want to use Sana, we also have some kind of functionality. But if you have really, really big needs, then it's maybe better to purchase or to look for a product information management system because they are specialized in that part of the topic, right? So, and we are integrating with these kind of vendors as well. So it's not only about ERP anymore. We are trying to, make sure that we really fit in the IT landscapes of what we are seeing now at the customers, right? And they are, quite diverse. And also where we saw 10 or 15 years ago, everything was surrounded or around the ERP. We now integrate with CRM systems or customer data platforms or product information management systems. It's just that there's this whole trend and this whole motion of best of breed solutions, especially software as a service, focusing on a certain part of the business.
As we're going into the end of 2023 already, it's hard to believe that we're going to close out 2023 in just a quarter and a half, or almost just one quarter. What do you have for advice to a B2B buyer in getting to that next level? What type of things should they be looking for nowadays in terms of digitization and moving forward and sort of breaking out of that shell of what you would think of as a traditional B2B company that doesn't necessarily look at the web as a solution for their problems?
Yeah, no, definitely. So if you are not having a store yet, or you're still in this 40% bucket, let's say, so then I would really advise that to start talking, if you're not already doing, but start talking with your B2B buyers, because 9 out of 10 times what we have seen with customers is that they're saying, hey, if the younger generation step in, that they say, hey, I do not want to call for an order anymore. Don't you have an app, or don't you have a web store? Or I also have flexible work hours. I have a family. I want to place an order at maybe at 9 o'clock in the evening and do not want to, call between 8 and 4 or something like that, right? So first of all, talk to your B2B buyers. Make sure that you're really, really close to your customer, right? It's always good in whatever you do in the world. So, and if you have done that, then it's probably a good thing to also form a team. If you say, hey, we want to move to and want to digitize that, to form a team in a multidisciplinary way in the organization you're in. So it's not something that is IT driven or sales driven or marketing driven, because that's why when we see projects fail, if it's only led by marketing or it's only led by IT, then you will see that there is not a success at the end. You need to do it holistically and with all those different expertise at the table, and actually really transform your company into the digital world, right? It's not only an IT trick or a sales trick to do. And once you have done that, very special ingredients for the sales part is to make sure that the incentives are done in the right way, because your internal sales team is your biggest internal competitor as well for these kind of changes, because they will say, my target is at risk, my customers will move all to digital, I will not earn any bonuses anymore, all that stuff. Now make them part of the journey and actually make it like an opportunity for them. For example, saying, okay, now everything what is being filed in on the online store by your B2B buyers, that is just adding to your target. But you do not have to spend time for that. So you can use that time to find new customers or make other people enthusiasts, so you can do more and you can earn more, right? So these kind of things often go wrong, and that's definitely something you need to look into. So, and then, and if you do not want to, copy paste all that data, or if you do not want to manually or if you do not want to get into mistakes and so on, choose an integrated solution like we are supplying, because it is otherwise a huge amount of complexity that you need to bring from a system or multiple systems and people's heads into a storefront. And that is, that's what we are solving for our customers.
That's great. I think that the holistic approach is so important, and it feels sometimes like new businesses are all just focused on IT.
Correct.
And maybe not on the relationship side. And traditional old school B2B businesses are the opposite. They're not really looking at their digital landscape. Maybe they have an ERP because somebody 20 years ago said they have to have an ERP and they want to manage their inventory, or their accounting system needs to be up and running and they don't want to use paper ledgers. But I think that looking at this in a holistic approach is such a great way to for any business owner to look at it, especially in the sense that if you think about what they did 50 years ago, they're not going to want to do it the same way, right? And as we grow, we're always going to want to grow in the same regard. Arno, as we close out the podcast, I give everybody a chance to do a shameless plug about anything they'd like to plug. What would you like to plug today?
Yeah, so definitely. So it was great talking to you, and in this 30 minutes, time is flying, right? When you're having fun. I explained a little bit about the benefits of integration in B2B e-commerce. But once again, if you are not having a B2B e-commerce storefront yet, but you do not know where to start, or you see troubles along the way on how to transform your organization from something non-digital to digital, then it's definitely a moment to reach out. Otherwise, if you already have a platform, but you're struggling with adoption, or you have a lot of manual interventions because of order errors, or customers that are filing tickets because they see different pricing, or they have troubles in finding information, or they do not have an overview of their orders, what they have recently placed, then probably something is wrong on the experience you're delivering for your B2B buyers, and we can solve that for you. So yeah, if you're using Microsoft Dynamics or SAP, and there are many companies in the world that are doing so, then reach out and go to sanacommerce.com, or if you like to learn more about B2B e-commerce, if you like the topic in general, or if you're also looking for a solution, then tune in my very own podcast, which is B2B e-commerce integrated, which you can find on all the major channels like Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. So B2B e-commerce integrated is the place to be if you want to have a podcast that is not only about e-commerce but very niche, also on about B2B e-commerce. So that was my plug.
That's perfect. Yeah, and I'll make sure I get those into the show notes. I appreciate that. We made it through the whole episode without talking about running. Are you training for anything today?
I just stay healthy, but I'm not running or preparing for a marathon. Although the one here in Rotterdam is pretty nice. I can recommend it if you're running marathons, Brad. But for now, I'm just keeping up my shape. Let's say it like that. And it's a good way to clear your head, right? Because that's also part of life. Just to, after a busy day of work, do a run, or I also like to run in the early mornings, do a run, and you can, have a fresh start. That's always good.
Yeah, it gets your head in the right space.
Correctly.
As I remember, Rotterdam finishes in the Olympic Stadium?
No,
or is it
finished.
Amsterdam?
Yeah, that's Amsterdam. That's the other one. Also nice. But in Rotterdam, you're finishing on one of the bridges, which is pretty cool as well.
Yeah, my bucket list is finishing in Olympic stadiums. So I've done Mexico City and I've done Munich.
Nice.
So anyways, it's a whole nother... Helsinki will be one that I want to do.
Great.
Good. Well, Arno, it's been such a pleasure talking today. I will
Same
make sure
here.
we get
Thank
all
you very much.
Yeah, I'll get all those things in the show notes, and have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Brent.
Thank you for making it to the end of this episode of Talk Commerce. Please rate this episode wherever you download your podcasts. We are actively looking for people to participate in the Free Joke Project. Go to talk-commerce.com and sign up for your free spot on the Free Joke Project. If you are a business, I will do a 30-second elevator pitch in the spot to help promote your business. That's talk-commerce.com. high quality